Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. I am so glad to have you here and back for another video where I try to help and teach you some things about getting over hurdles and moving forward with meaningful action and getting out of that state of helplessness that maybe so many of you are feeling and that I know that I have felt before. So if learning some things about accepting and how to best move forward sounds good to you, let's get started. In last week's tutorial video, as you may remember, we spent time talking about the principle that knowing is not the same as being or doing. We also spent some time talking about being humble and having humility and accepting that we're not in control and accepting that we are fallible human beings and that we make mistakes, but that we can move through that when we understand and admit to ourselves who we are so that we can take meaningful action in the world. Today's video is going to focus on acceptance primarily. As human beings, we often struggle to actually tune into and obtain and live from a state of acceptance about the world around us and the things that we have no control over. I was a huge proponent of this, and to my detriment, because when we struggle to accept what's going on in the world around us, we can then start to have all kinds of problematic viewpoints, emotions that we can't overcome and surpass and quell so that we can be useful. We get stuck. And that feeling of being stuck, I don't know about you, but when I feel stuck, it's the most awful situation to be in. I feel confused, I feel sad, I feel angry, and I just want to be able to get with the program and move forward. So with that in mind and thinking about acceptance, I'm going to move into discussing with you 3 ways that I have felt in the past and what I noticed in my life when I was not living in a place of acceptance. And then I'm going to discuss 3 ways that you can counteract those feelings and move toward action, because the only resolution to feeling stuck is to take action, no matter how small. Then it will snowball effect for you and you'll be able to take more and more action. I'm actually in that space right now myself, and it's feeling really, really good. With that in mind, let's go ahead and get started with 3 ways that you might be feeling and what you might be experiencing if you're struggling with acceptance. Number 1, a lot of times when we're stuck in a place of being unable to accept things the way that they are, we find ourselves overcome with fear. Primarily fear that we're worried that we're not going to get something we wish we could get, or that we're going to lose something that we have. And because we can't accept that that may very well happen and that things are going to be okay even if they do, we live in this place of fear, constantly thinking again and again and over about those fearful thoughts. What if I don't get that promotion? What if that boy that I went on a date with doesn't like me? What if my marriage falls apart? What if my mother gets sick and I can't take care of her? What if, worry, fear. And it's preemptive, right? You're fearing things that haven't even happened yet because you likely will struggle to accept them. Let's move on to number 2. So number 2 is anxiety. I highlighted it a moment ago when we were talking about fear. One of the types of fear is anxiety, right? That obsessive worrying about things that we don't have any control over, or things that may be actually happening, right? Or things that we've done or may not. So anxiety can really come from a place of worrying about something that we can control or worrying about something that we can't control. But one of the things that we need to do, again, is to circle back to that acceptance. Things are the way they are, and there's, in many circumstances, nothing I can do about it. Or I've done something or I'm planning to do something, so I need not worry about it. It's you need to take action and let that anxiety come down so that you can move forward. I speak from personal experience when I say that anxiety has been very paralyzing for me in my life at certain points. One of the only things that helps me to let go of that is taking action. And we'll get to something down the road because a little bit of trust comes into play there, or faith even, that no matter what you do, everything will be as it needs to be and as it's supposed to be, and you will have the tools to take care of whatever the outcome is. So anxiety, part of the solution for that is to take action, right? To overcome those fears. You may have heard there's a famous line out there, or people share, courage is not the absence of fear. It's the presence of fear and being able to move forward anyway. And in very similar ways, it's the presence of anxiety and the ability to move forward anyway. So the third way that you may be feeling if you are struggling with that feeling of being stuck and not able to move forward is that you may be in a place of helplessness and despair. Maybe you feel super depressed and you feel like there's no action that you can take that's going to make a meaningful difference. And you feel as though even if you were to have all the help in the world, that might not still resolve your problem. Again, when you have some anxiety creeping in there that things will never get better, and that feeling of helplessness also contributes to your inability to take action. We can do things. We can do simple things. And if that's all you can do to begin with, then that's all you need to do. I assure you. I know for me personally, I'm a Sagittarius sun. Here comes more astrology for you guys. I'm a Sagittarius sun, but I'm a Virgo rising, and Virgo can have a tendency to be very black and white, all or nothing. And that can be a great big enemy right smack dab in the middle of my feeling stuck and feeling helpless, because my silly brain gets in my head and says, well, if you don't do everything to the hilt perfectly, then you didn't do anything at all. And that's not the truth. That's just my ego and my brain feeding me that message. And so what I have come to realize, and what I want you to come to realize, is that you just have to take a step. And again, that snowball effect will start. So if you're feeling helpless, if you're feeling like you can't help yourself, or there's no one that can help you, I'm here to be one of those people. I want to help you take those steps. I want to find that thing that you want to do and help you create a plan so that you can execute it, so that you can get out of stuck and out of stagnation into a place of acceptance about what is, quell your fears, your anxieties, and your helpless feelings, and get you trucking along right on down the road. And my God, won't it be a beautiful thing? So that summarizes the 3 ways that you may be feeling if you've been struggling with being stuck and in a place where you are having difficulty accepting what is so that you can move forward. The next 3 items that I want to share with you are qualities about yourself, maybe wounding that you have, or circumstances and belief systems that you have not implemented successfully that are keeping you stuck and are keeping you in a place where you're not able to accept and move forward. Number 1, low self-worth. So when you are struggling with those feelings of fear and anxiety and helplessness, it may be because on a deeper level, perhaps even a subconscious level, you feel like you don't matter, that you're not important, and that you don't have worth. And this may be as a result of some of your own doing, but some of not your own doing. One of the main ways that we can suffer with low self-worth is having a father wound. Whether or not you've heard of what father wounding is, it is something that can impact you. And it doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't have a father. Sometimes it just means that your father was emotionally unavailable when you were a child. This came into play in my life when I was a teenager. I was very much struggling with growing up, and then I had a father who I loved dearly and who did the best that he can, who just couldn't be there to support me in my emotional storming, if you will, because let's be honest, teenage girls can be very stormy emotionally. I probably overwhelmed him. Sometimes I overwhelm myself, so that wouldn't be surprising. But back to self-worth. If you're feeling like you're not good enough, like you don't have any gifts to offer in the world, or you're not taking care of yourself, if you're not living in a space where you are prioritizing your needs and wants, then it might be time to shift that and get into a place where once a day you're just doing something for 5 minutes that honors yourself. And by doing that, you're going to build trust and self-worth up in yourself so that you can move forward from your area of being stuck. those feelings of low self-worth can be extremely paralyzing, and there are ways to get over them. Let me know in the comments if you'd like me to share some of the methods that I've implemented in order to get over my self-worth wounding, because that's definitely one of my primary sources of struggle that I've had in my life. And I do feel like if I share some of my personal experience, maybe in a vlog style or in a list of those resources, that might be helpful for you guys. So number 2, that you might be experiencing a principle or a way of being that you may be missing implementing that is keeping you in a place of not accepting the world around you and being stuck as a result, is going to be no faith. Now, before you think that I'm trying to dogmatically convince you to join any spiritual or religious group, that is not why I'm here. I am here to let you know that faith of some sort is going to be your answer. I don't know what that looks like for you. I am a believer that spirituality is as unique as the person that practices it. We are exposed to so many different ideas in the world, and what you learn as you age, and what I have learned, is perspective is everything. I may have one belief because of a certain perspective that I'm holding, but if I shift that perspective, my belief system begins to change. So with faith is simply the understanding and belief in something that you cannot see or don't understand. It's trusting that everything is going to be okay, and as it should be, no matter what happens. I think some people struggle with faith and that trust component because our egos want to tell us that if it's not good, it's bad, and therefore we can't have faith or trust in it. But the truth of the way the world works is it's yin and yang, it's balance and flow, it's up and down, and it is good and bad. And the things that happen to us that are bad aren't really bad, they're lessons. And what I have come to believe and what I practice in my faith is that absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake. I want to keep having faith, and I am by no means a monk or a spiritual teacher or expert. I'm just sharing my experience that when I came to believe in my God, my higher power, my spiritual practice, and when I identified what my spiritual beliefs were and I implemented faith in that spiritual principle or belief, everything has fallen into place so much better. My days are better. I worry less. I have less fear. I have less feelings of helplessness, although they do try to crop up from time to time. And when I have faith in that force, because also the fourth from Star Wars is like that, for me, that's a form of spirituality. That's their belief system. But when I have faith in that force, everything is so much more peaceful in my life, and I accept things so much more readily than I've been able to for a long time in my life. And things get better every day because of it. So that's number 2, having faith of some sort. Maybe initially it's in yourself and that you're guided by a force that is stronger than you are. Whatever that looks like for you, have faith that all will be well, that you will be on the path that you're meant to be on, and that it will be helpful for others. And that takes me back to kind of my title for this video. So while the theme of this video is having acceptance so you can get unstuck, one of the things that we want to shift from is that space of helplessness to helpfulness. When we're experiencing a lot of the things that I've talked about today, we're very caught up in ourselves. And one of the quickest ways that we can remedy that is by getting into other people and helping other people. And when we're acting from a place of selflessness and giving and trying to nurture and positively impact others, it's really hard to be stewing in our own self-pity and helplessness and anxiety and fear. And if that is hard for you to hear, then that may be, here's your sign. That might be your indication that, okay, maybe I'm the one that's making this harder than it needs to be. Maybe I need to flip the script, get out there and help someone else. That will make me feel better. And then it will put me on a trajectory where I'm not stuck anymore. I can accept that is one of the most important things in life, and see the fruits of my labors and achieve the goals and aspirations that I want to when I focus on others instead of myself. One of the biggest problems I think we have in the world right now is we are so caught up in ourselves. But when we take ourselves out of the viewfinder and we look out to everyone else, like I'm looking out to you right now, and try to help you, that's where the magic is. By helping you, I'm helping myself. By helping myself, I help no one, really. I fail myself and I fail others. But when I help you, I get helped by proxy as a result. And everyone grows together. Okay, I'm getting very woo-woo and inspired. This is what happens with me. It gives me so much hope. There's a lot of crazy crap happening in the world right now, but everything is going to be okay. I know that everything is going to be okay, and you can know that everything is going to be okay. So, when we improve our self-worth little by little at a time, and when we get out of that space of not having faith and we start trusting, and circling back to trusting that we're on the right path, that everything's going to be okay, and that absolutely nothing happens in God's world by mistake, then we take action. And as soon as you take that little baby step of action, it's easier to take the next step and the next step and the next step. And then you're doing it. You're doing the very thing that this video is seeking to resolve for you. You were stuck because you couldn't accept things. But as soon as you take that step of action, boom, you're not stuck anymore. Being unstuck doesn't mean you have to take leaps and bounds and be flying all over the place. It's little bite-sized pieces. That sounds so kindergarten, but it's so true. And we learn it when we're little, and we know it in our hearts when we're little, but then we get older and we have all these other influences that make us feel like everything has to be huge and giant. And if it's not, then it doesn't mean anything, or it doesn't exist, or it's not worth anything. But sometimes the smallest steps make the biggest difference in the whole wide world. Just me making this little 10-minute video, I hope it's going to be, or less, so that we can get in and out and discuss these principles and then get moving, start working on them. I want to save you time in my videos so you can go and do a practice that helps build your self-worth, or so that you can go and meditate for 5 minutes and get into that space of trust that you need so that you can move toward taking action and overcoming that god-awful place of feeling stuck and miserable. One other bonus point that I wanted to make about all of this and getting unstuck is that once you start to accept things, because you're working on fear, anxiety, helplessness, your self-worth, your faith, and taking those baby action steps, that is all contributing to your acceptance. But the one other thing that's missing that's super important is you can't do all this alone. I know you might want to. You might be pretty introverted. You might feel like you can't trust other people. Maybe you feel like you've tried to work with others before and they've betrayed you and things have only ended up bad. But another thing that I've learned about my growth is that I don't have to do this alone. And actually, if I try to do it alone, I'm going to fail. And the reason for that is we need each other in order to say, oh my gosh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only person that feels this way. There are other people that feels this way. I'm not the only person that's imperfect. Everybody's imperfect and has fallacies. I'm not the only person that struggles with wallowing in my own self-pity like a silly person. We all do that. But we can all also pick ourselves up and get up and share our energies with each other's for good. And that is why I'm doing this YouTube channel, because I feel like I am meant to share my energy with you and show you the things that I've overcome or the things that I'm still working on overcoming so that you can do it too. You're not alone. I have been in very, very dark places in my life, believe it or not. Darker than you would think for somebody that has my lighthearted and enthusiastic and bubbly demeanor, but that's because I was covering all of that awful stuff up. As I've worked through healing myself and moving into places of acceptance and embodying these ideals and these practices that I'm going to be instilling to you on the channel, and getting the support of others, sharing my story with others, getting other people's stories from them. Share yours down in the comment, please, because this is the community we're building, right? I want to hear from you. I want your peers in this audience to hear from you. We all have something meaningful to share, no matter how big and small. Every word of every story matters. I believe that I'm going to be able to help so many more people with the meaningful goal of becoming unstuck and having acceptance and helping other people and creating a better world than what I'm doing right now. So that's why I'm sharing this with you today. Some final thoughts. I am worthy is what you want to tell yourself. If you have feelings of low self-worth, tell yourself, I am worthy. That's how you feel. Then you're going to tell yourself, I have faith. That's knowing, right? That's the knowing part before the being and doing. So you feel that you have worth, you know that you have faith, and then you do. You take action, because knowing isn't being or doing. You've got to know and feel, and then you've got to take action. And that action is what's going to get you unstuck and get you in a place where you're moving forward with acceptance. And then as you're moving forward, something might happen that you don't like, but you just have to take it back full circle. Okay, this happened. Not my favorite thing. How can I accept it and move forward? Because we can't implement change if we don't accept something, whether we accept something we like or we accept something that we don't like. Our inability to accept freezes us. I'll give you an example. Recently, I was very frustrated in my place of employment. I was feeling helpless. I was feeling a lot of anxiety and fear. I didn't know how the situation was going to turn out. And it was creating a lot of distress in my life. But I was not accepting it. I was pushing back. I was like, I don't like this. They're not handling it right. They should do it this way. Blah, blah, blah. Stuck in all my BS, if you will. As soon as I accepted, okay, I don't like this. I think they could do it differently, but I don't have any control over it. And I accepted it. Then I could move on and say, you know what? I'm going to keep doing my job, but I'm going to do YouTube on the side because that makes me feel good, right? I'm taking action. And the action that I'm taking is moving from that place of helplessness to helpfulness with you. So there's a little vignette of how everything can come together and how you can literally shift everything just by accepting and implementing the things that we've talked about today. Woohoo! That felt great. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, I'm looking for my first subscriber. You are out there and I know it, and I know many will follow. I can't wait to build this community, and I'm so inspired and feeling so in alignment with what I'm meant to be doing, and I can't wait to see who joins me on this journey. Have an awesome day. Ciao for now.